Hello students, right here again. Today we got lesson 1.2 using a scientific approach. Start off with a little illustration here of running in the rain. You can use a scientific approach to determine if you're going to stay dry or running in the rain or walking in the rain. Scientific methods. Key question, what is the goal of a scientific method? We got a definition for a scientific method: an organized plan for gathering, organizing, and communicating information. It's called a scientific method. Use a scientific method to search for the answer to a question. Scientific methods can vary from case to case depending on the question and how the researcher decides to look for an answer. Goal of any scientific method is to solve a problem or to better understand an observed event. And here is a scientific method. We start by asking a question. And develop a hypothesis. Test the hypothesis using experiment. Analyze and draw conclusions. Hypothesis is either supported or not supported. If the hypothesis is supported, we go back and test it again with further experiments. If it's not supported, go back and revise the hypothesis and test a new hypothesis. And after sufficient number of tests, the hypothesis is continually supported, we may develop a theory. Now we will elaborate on those different steps. So we make observations. An observation is just information we obtain through our senses. When we form a hypothesis, we're forming a proposed answer to the question. We test the hypothesis using experiments. We have variables, and anything that can change is called a variable. We have a manipulated variable, which causes a change, and a responding variable changes in response to that manipulated variable. The manipulated variable is also called the independent variable. The responding variable, also called the dependent variable. And we always run controlled experiments where we allow one variable, the manipulated variable, is deliberately changed. In a drawing conclusion, a conclusion describes how facts apply to a hypothesis. Developing a theory, scientific theory, a well-tested explanation for a set of observations or experimental results. Once a hypothesis has been supported and repeated in experiments, scientists start to develop a theory. So, question might be, how does speed affect how wet you get in the rain? Hypothesis, the faster your speed, the drier you will stay. Experiment, we test whether speed affects how wet you get in the rain. In 1997, two meteorologists actually conducted this experiment. One scientist walked 100 yards and the other one ran the same distance. All other variables, such as types of clothes, were controlled. Clothes of the walking scientist accumulated 217 grams of water. Clothes of the running scientist accumulated 130 grams of water. So conclusion, running in the rain keeps you drier. Another key question, how does a scientific law differ from a scientific theory? Scientific laws, after repeated observations or experiments, scientists may come up with a scientific law. Scientific law is a statement that summarizes a pattern found in nature. Example, Newton's law of gravity. Scientific law is verified over and over. I have not come up with a theory explaining how gravity works. We just know that it is there. Scientific laws will just tell us what happens, where a theory will explain why it happens or how it happens. A scientific law describes an observed pattern, nature, without attempting to explain it. Explanation of such a pattern is provided by a scientific theory. Then we get a little bit about scientific models. Key question, why are they useful? Definition, a model is just a representation of an object or event. Street map is a type of a model. Scientific models make it easier to understand things that might be too difficult to observe directly, either from being too big, too small, or too complex. And here's an example of scientific model. Got a computer model represented here of an airplane, helps visualize layout of the airplane. And models help you visualize things that are too small to see, such as atoms, too large, such as a solar system. Example of a mental rather than a physical model might be that comets are like giant snowballs primarily made of ice. As new data is collected, models can be changed or replaced with new models. Safety in science. Lab safety, a very key thing. Physical science, we will do very little lab work, but we will just discuss some of the safety rules. Key questions. What's a hypothesis? Hypothesis, proposed answer to a question. How does a law differ from a theory? Scientific law describes observation, while theory attempts to explain it. Looking at some of the other choices on this one, scientific law cannot be changed by additional observation, but the theory can be changed. They both can be changed as new information is developed. C talks about being proven. Neither of them are actually ever proved. And they definitely are not the same thing. Main purpose of a scientific model is to make complex concepts easier to understand. How does scientific law differ from a theory? And this question makes no sense. Answers don't match up. So, that's it for section 1.2 notes. Till next time, this is Strike.